What is the world of fantasy? Isn't this world an outlet for introverts who absolutely do not want to contact real people, locking themselves in a closet? The boy was a completely ordinary otaku who enthusiastically played RPG games, read manhwa and rano. And so, our great and strong guy walks through the tunnel, praising himself for being such a good fellow, since he defeated all his enemies, although the last one remained in front of him, the boss. He kicks the door open in front of him, giving him an overview of the devil sitting on the throne. He was called into this world to rid humanity of devils, so he is only fulfilling his so-called duty. And the main villain, apparently, has been waiting for him for a long time. He sits, almost hisses at him, that even smoke comes out of his mouth, like a fire-breathing dragon during anger. The Demon King, or boss, sent his servants to the defender, each time stronger and stronger. But he was constantly expected to fail when the hero defeated absolutely every opponent. Pedanar is the boss of this royal location. It is this meeting that the main character has been waiting for so much, namely for 10 whole years. If he defeats Pedanar, he will return to Earth, back to where I came from. This is the sole purpose of his adventure. But he was also worried about something, so he decided to ask a question before the battle. The question that has always tormented all the players. Why did the boss, seeing the losses of his subordinates, not break down to protect them? We learn from the mouth of the Lord himself that he was watching, and not sitting idly by. The assumption that the hero won with the help of luck is refuted by the hero's phrase, which refers to his training. Yes, he was tormented by doubts that he would not be able to win and would stay here forever, but apparently he always had faith. And here he is, the decisive blow that causes the boss of this world to die. The place is destroyed, but the guy looks proudly at the body, thinking that he will finally return home and do his favorite things otaku. But the mention of his dead comrades pulls him out of his thoughts. The devil again puts forward his assumption that it is the anger of his friends that causes the power to increase at times. But again, the excuse is that there is a lot of training. Surprised by the fleeting battle, the hero already begins to rejoice, to cry out that he would be returned as soon as possible to his real world. He has already built a plan according to which his life will pass, respect his parents, find love, eat delicious food, go to the toilet in comfort. But all these exclamations of happiness are interrupted by a voice. At first, one might think that this is a hidden boss, but it turns out that this is an ordinary observer who gives a characterization of the hero for his entire stay here. In simple words, she calls herself the goddess of this world. She praises him that he has passed this path, which is 10 years long, although then she shows his report card grades, where it says in plain text that he is a loser who even killed his comrades, who, according to him, interfered, belittled him. A disgusting person, simply put. For this, he is again returned to the starting point, when he became an ordinary amateur hero who got into this world. The hero sits quietly in his classroom and communicates with his classmates, who reflect that it would be good if they got into the fantasy world. Everyone is dreaming about something. Someone is about saving a beautiful princess. Another is traveling with beautiful ladies. The third is about a nuclear bomb in general to destroy the world. And then the hero is sharply attacked by the question of what he would do if he got into such a world. Kang Hansoo. And right now we are learning the name of the hero, thought about it, and then abruptly disappeared from the class, as if he had been pulled out of this world into a parallel one. Hansoo remembers his past, and then compares it with what is happening now. However, even his body became the same as before, completely frail. The hero quickly calculates that his life over these 10 years could have changed dramatically if he had not been here. To finish study, start working, get married, have a child. We are met in the narrative by a completely cute character. Runable also can be found as Lanival in Manhwa, but she introduces herself as Runable. She is an archaeologist who led the cult of those who called heroes into their world to fight. She shows him all the same places he has already visited. As a result of a small conversation, you can find out the goals for which he was called here. The demon lord Pedanar has awakened. Humanity is on the verge of a crisis, which is why a big catastrophe is approaching. That's why he was called here to save him from disaster. Hansoo makes an aggressive remark to her about her smile, which is completely stupid on her part. Runable starts to apologize to him. At some point, he understands all the power over the situation, which is why he belittles the position of absolutely everyone in this fantasy almost to cockroaches. And then a professor comes out into the world, or rather behind the scenes, who will monitor the character's reputation, and who will help him earn a good grade, poking his nose at the fact that his behavior is not worthy of a real hero who can defeat the Lord. The hero reminds that he was able to defeat the Lord without mistakes, but in response they receive only that something is wrong here, a problem. The hero made the same mistakes, because of which he had to lose to the Pedanar for a long time, but in fact he was able to cope with it with ease. Failure breeds success. Hansoo did not analyze his actions, so he did not know the taste of defeat. It was precisely because the hero did not reflect on his actions that this professor of morality arrived. Runnable is worried about such an outburst of emotions for the guy, so she explains that they have not yet fully explored the magic of movement. But Kang again goes into his thoughts, reflecting on the topic of teachers. He puts forward a proposal, of course, in the thoughts that this organization is engaged in catching people in order to raise heroes out of them. Hansoo asks to take him to the king to meet with him personally. But on the way to the throne room, the hero's complacency flares up again. He just throws a sarcastic phrase, to which he receives some unexpected response, and Mr. Alex hits him. This is the commander-in-chief of the kingdom. Runnable stops him. It seemed that everything had calmed down, but the hero took and attacked him. Even if the body couldn't keep up with the whole technique, in his memories, there are only thoughts about how he beat him under the pretext of practice. And then Alex challenges, if Kang Hansoo defeats him, he will kneel down and apologize, although the character is sure that he will not apologize until he dies. The guy enters the throne room, where he meets with the king. He thinks about how the king, who participated in many battles, became such a dumpling. He does not want to kneel in front of him again, because no one checked out his respectful address at the first pass. But Ms. Morale once again reminds us of respect. When bowing before the king, everyone admires his manners, although he learned them during the period when he first came to this fantasy world. He is given his license with background information about him. The king asks him about what kind of special talent he has, and then is surprised by the information he hears. The experience bonus is 500%. He is reminded of the purpose of his arrival here, to destroy the demon King Pedanar. The hero lends himself to thinking that it is the king who is to blame for all the troubles of his kingdom, and not the poor demon lord. Hansoo requests support, but without receiving it, confronts the ruler that either he gives support and a hero is a hero, or none of this. Everyone in the hall is very shocked by such behavior and disdain for the king. Even one of the king's entourage was outraged, though then he got a pen in the forehead, and Hansoo was upset that it wasn't in the eye. He also provokes the guards with words about his murder, drawing a chain between the murder of the king and the hero. If you kill the king, then someone will definitely come. And if you kill the hero, then no one will come to replace him. Therefore, he continues to behave self-confidently, continuing to use his status as protection. The hero thinks that if he continues to be modest, then they will start using the fact that they have such power on the side. He compares the king and the Pedanar, noting that the second one is completely better than the dumpling, although he was just collecting trophies from the enemies who lost to him in battle. So the demon lord did not give him any support at all. At first, the king was incredibly shocked, but then he directly stated that Kang Hansoo was the property of the kingdom since he was called here. The skirmish between the king and the hero was just heating up. He declares to everyone present in the hall that he will not lift a finger, and if anything, he may go to another kingdom. As a result, the king only gives up and asks about what he needs as support. What the guy demanded: clothes, housing, food, equipment, potions, geographical map, immunity, room service, money. He thinks it would be fun to use cheats, because he had already passed this game before. And again there was a dialogue between Professor Morale and the hero. She was unhappy that he was taking advantage of his greed and such an attitude. Here he learns that there are other graduates who, after passing the game, get back to Earth. There are many worthy students for the role of a hero. They help those who are in a difficult situation and live happily because they bring good. He realizes that he was clearly mistaken, that he is the only one undergoing the test at the moment. Runnable suddenly appears in the room, who clearly looks attractive. He's just angry that she appeared so suddenly. After the words of Mrs. Morale, Hansoo thinks that before, he would have gone crazy being in a room with such a girl, but now he only thinks about other students. Finally, having finished his reflections on how all these trials are going, he decides to distract himself, so he calls Runnable, who clearly does not understand what he wants to do. But he just calls it getting long-awaited support. The agreement between the hero and the king about the money was such that all expenses would be controlled exclusively by Runnable. That is why he is accompanied by an archaeologist when walking through the trade center of the whole kingdom. She asks if he is against buying a magic ball, which she has long wanted for herself. And this apparently, as Hansoo noticed, clearly shows not the king's observation. In a place where they buy a lot of different goods for every taste and color, and everything is even of very excellent quality, which is noticed by its prices. Magic equals very expensive. Due to the fact that the hero arrived here in his school uniform, he decided to change clothes first so as not to stand out among the crowd and not repeat his past mistakes during the passage. Entering the store, then Kang immediately began to dress up. When praising Runnable, he reacts very, very flatteringly for himself. Everyone in the market immediately began to think that he was an aristocrat, paying all their attention to him. No matter who. The main thing was that he attracted attention with his loose suit, a robe, a good shirt, shorts, a vest, and a hat with a feather. And all this was just according to his idea, because the common people treat the aristocracy on a completely different level. When the girl makes a remark that they passed by all the best blacksmiths and alchemy shops, Hansoo, not at a loss, replied that they were heading straight to the black market. She, in turn, is frightened because the great hero wants to contact the illegal. But apparently, the hero does not intend to give up. The hero explains to his companion that she herself is engaged in an illegal purchase because she acquired the ball because of her own benefit and not out of good intentions. His nomination sounds like, "I allowed it, you didn't refuse, so we are accomplices in the crime." Lionel still does not think for a long time and adapts to Hansoo, saying that if everything is for the sake of peace, then everything is fine, despite the fact that the archaeologist is a local resident. The hero looks more omniscient. She says that the black market is constantly moving, so the auctions are held in different places, and he, in turn, realizes that he looks very suspicious. He reflects on the fact that he is a beginner with his plus 500% experience can easily defeat the demon lord. Then an ordinary character could defeat him in 2 counts. And then he says that it's not about numbers, so he should prepare. However, he does not know where this black market is, where they are going. The girl just admires him and then tries to keep quiet, as she was ordered. Not knowing where the black market is, the hero decided to find out in local pubs, so they went there. In one of these establishments there were loud conversations of drunk people, and also some musicians sounded. He understood that he had returned to the past, so nothing had changed. Hansoo calls one of the bartenders by name, and he in turn is surprised. And we find out that Tony is a former contract killer who opened a bar after his career. During the first passage of this title, Tony taught the hero how to survive in this fantasy world. He was a good teacher for him, as well as a friend. The bartender, in turn, offers them a drink, telling them that there are all kinds of alcohol in this place that there is in the kingdom. But having absorbed his desire to make friends with him again, the hero begins to talk in the language of black. And the interlocutor understood, so he answered. And the information was obtained as follows: the time and place of bidding. And even with the help of what the words mean in pouring an alcoholic drink into a glass, you can find out the goods. On this day, Hans and Runnable sat down to have a snack. And due to the fact that they didn't want to miss the goods, the guy only made her hurry up. And all because the mutton they ordered turned out to be fat. As a result, they were forced to redo it to please Lanival. On the way, he forbids her to somehow disseminate information, and also shares another and very important information. He can see not only his own characteristics, but also those of others. He only now realized that this was only so that the novice hero would not die in the first battle. She only admires and asks him if he sees her characteristics. He was only silent for a moment, remembering that she was clearly unfit to fight with the weakest minions of the Demon King. But despite her potential, the first circle of her future is clearly flashing through his head. Hansoo is clearly worried about her future. They keep walking until someone cuts off the rope that held the ball and Runnable's money. Kang was not a bit confused, so he helped to return the money from the thief. It hits him between the 4th and 5th lumbar vertebrae. He explains that if he does not hurry to cure this acquired injury, then he will have problems for the rest of his life. He understands that he is stronger than him, seeing the characteristics, so he tries to relax. Unlike myself of the past, who was just afraid of everything that wobbles. But now he calmly and without delay forces the thief to go into a knockout, even if it is only the first level. Those 10 years were not in vain. While the information that he is a hero is carefully hidden, although he understands that it's still not for long. Runnable makes a remark that he apparently has already killed people, to which Hansoo flared up and again shouted at his companion about not calling him a murderer. The hero said that he saw his characterization. Therefore, when she found out that he was a large-scale criminal, she was immediately delighted. He's a hero. He made the thief pay for killing. As a result, they went on, and she began to explain to him about how the level of living beings works. He doesn't regret what happened to that thief and murderer. This is a world where if you kill, you become stronger. That's all. While they were moving on, someone had already started following them. They went into a gloomy place where they met with one of the black market traders. Hansoo gave the password, which is still valid on the black market. They continued to advance further. They went into one of the buildings where there was a magic circle on the floor, with which they usually transfer other people from another world to this one. Here it is noticed that this circle is clearly made of expensive materials. They were given masks so that their identities would not be revealed at the auction. And so they went with the help of the circle to another place. And of course, initially it is a dark room where security is crammed everywhere, just to secure your black market. From the memories of the hero, you can find out that this place is located approximately under the forest in the western part of the capital. They are greeted quite well, saying that the auction is about to begin. However, before going to their places, it will be necessary to explain small details about how the bet is made in this place. One of the conditions is that no one but you will be to blame if someone finds out about the identity. And the worst thing is that there is Lanival, the beauty of the whole continent, so it was not desirable to find problems for her reputation. And now the auction has begun. And the first contender is a survivor from the land of demons. This man was a military man. During the battle with one of the demons, he was seriously wounded, which was why he was near death. Fortunately, and maybe even unfortunately, he was saved, so he was now on this stage in chains. But Hansoo did not want him to be his companion because he was simply not suitable in terms of parameters, as he was described. He immediately recalled his first auction, where he won a girl a pain in the ass, and if I had been thinking sensibly, I would never have chosen her again. Manhwa says they lost a product that could have been very useful, but the hero understands that the auction has not really started yet, but it will start only now. The second item was some girl with perfect skin, and also a daughter from a noble family who was captured by demons. He understands that this is the same girl, because he was allies and teammates with her, so he didn't even save her, because that's not what they came for. And now they bring another product to the stage for presentation. The hero admires this person. Hansoo tells Runable to place a bet, and then receives the desired product, and at a low price. It was a level 286 mercenary, to which the companion is very surprised. The hero makes a remark in his thoughts about the fact that comparing this mercenary with Alex would hurt the second. Now this person becomes the property of the hero. The girl asks about returning, but the guy just says that this is just the beginning. Runable becomes ill, but Kang continues to insist that she endure, although he himself is not going to stay here for a long time, because the black market has begun to offer nondescript goods, and it was already worth thinking about leaving this place. Then an elf from the famous forest of the southern continent was shown in front of them. According to the description, her mind is broken, and the appearance is very good. This is $1 million chance to purchase such a product. Elves are the highest race in this fantasy world. It is clear from the hero's reflections that he has already managed to learn a lot about elves. But as he expected, everyone wants to get an elf, and if it is an elf, then even more so. From the information from Lanival, it is clear that the elves have become common prey due to the fact that they lost in the war with humans. The hero considers the characteristic, and the girl next to him also felt something special about her. He sees this elf not as a piece of cute meat, but as a good weapon, also drawing parallels between the higher race and demons. Hansoo makes a bet that clearly cannot be surpassed by anyone, as an incident that creates a tunnel occurs abruptly. Possible invasion. The hero notices the earth elementals, which means the presence of elves. Everyone is starting to panic because of the elf invasion, and they are clearly aggressive in order to save their sister. As soon as the attack begins, the black market workers began to protect their customers. But the elves were clearly not going to give up, because they are definitely holding off the first attack perfectly thanks to the elementals of the future queen of the elves. Her name is Sylvia. Earlier, in the first timeline, she was a member of the hero's team. For the sake of saving her sisters, she sacrificed her other subordinates. From the idea of her, you can find out that she is gifted, so her skills are at the highest level. It is also known that so far she only has the title of princess. But if her father dies, she will become the ruling queen of the elves. Representatives of the black market are trying to evacuate customers. Runable says she wants to help with the rescue, but apparently with the rescue of the elves, so the hero drives her away to the shelter. Also noticing that if they go to fight, their goods can be destroyed. He decides to deal with everything that is happening on his own because he is a hero. The hero decides to talk to the host, who blames him for the fact that the elf slave belongs to the master in the wolf mask, because he notices that under normal conditions, money comes first, but now it's not like that. Hansoo offers to go to the shelter with everyone, and the host runs away. And by this time more reinforcements from the people come because the escort of the guests. Kang again reflects that if the elves lose, then Sylvia will become a slave instead of the queen. And in order to prevent this, he approaches that product to discuss a small detail. And to remove the curse that is imposed on the girl, he kisses her. In turn, she is even grateful to him that he did it, because then she dies.